Tomorrow, Aaron Gunches will be executed by lethal injection. Back in 2007, he was convicted for the murder of Ted Price. This will be the first execution under Governor Hobbs and the first in Arizona since 2022. Troy Hayden has been chosen as a media witness to the execution. He joins us from the state prison in Florence tonight with more.
In a little under 12 hours, the execution of Aaron Gunches should be underway here behind me at Florence Prison. His victim was a man named Ted Price. Ted's sister Karen is traveling here to Arizona from out of state to witness the execution. But do family members who see these get closure? There are very few people who can answer that question. And one of them is a woman named Leslie James. Yeah, so this is where Dina's laid to rest here.
Yeah.
1978, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I have to even stop and count. What was it, 47? 47 years now? And yet, I remember that morning like it was yesterday.
That morning was the morning in 1978 when Leslie James learned her 21-year-old sister Dina had been murdered. Dina was in her last year at ASU, was full of life and promise.
She loved to travel, and she did a huge amount of that. In 21 years, she was able to do a lot of that. She was kind, really kind to everybody. There wasn't a mean bone in her body.
Dina was raped and murdered in her Tempe apartment by a man named Clarence Dixon. He lived across the street from her. The murder went unsolved, though, for 20 years until the emergence of DNA technology finally connected Dixon to the crime. He wasn't hard to find. He was already serving a life sentence for a different sexual assault. Dixon was put to death for the crime on May 11th, 2022. Leslie was there to see it. Were you glad you attended the execution?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think if I hadn't, that would have been the only event in this whole process that I didn't carry it through.
Over the course of more than 40 years, Leslie was getting updates from detectives, dealing with unknowns, and then the trial and the conviction. She saw the execution as less vengeance and more relief.
I'm still feeling quite a bit like I did right after the execution, and that was like there's been a weight lifted, that no longer do I have to worry about court, what a court's going to do, or when a hearing's going to be, or what's going to happen next.
Even as Dixon was strapped down on the execution table, moments before his death, he taunted Leslie and said things about Dina.
Everyone deals with grief differently, and everyone has their own levels of forgiveness. So I just have my own views on that, and in my case, I could never have forgiven what he did.
Some victims' families say they attend executions for a sense of closure. But that's not something Leslie found in the death chamber that day.
There's never a closure. That doesn't bring anybody back. It doesn't affect what that person did. But at least you're done. You're done. So again, this execution scheduled for 10 tomorrow morning here in Florence. I'm a media witness. I will be inside the execution chamber, and I'll have live reports beginning in the 6 o'clock hour of Today in AZ tomorrow morning. Reporting from Florence, Troy Hayden, 12 News.
All right, Troy, thank you.